After Percy's accident with some trucks, Sodor had sent him away to be repaired. Luckily in time, Thomas had just returned from the works. But unfortunately, Sodor couldn't spare another engine to help out with the goods, so alterations were made. Thomas and Toby didn't mind the extra goods work. Although the same couldn't be said for Daisy, and still remained stubborn. One morning, Toby was sitting at his shed while Thomas and his train arrived. The little blue engine was happy to be back, and Toby told him all about what happened while he was away. "Well," chuckled Thomas, "sounds like there's never a dull moment on this branch line." "I guess not," Toby replied. The nice moment didn't last, as they were interrupted by a mad Daisy shunting cars in crossly. "I see you two little engines tend to dull all day while I shunt the trucks." Thomas and Toby stared at each other. They knew that Daisy was just acting too big for her bumpers once again. "Of course not, Daisy," said Thomas. "We wouldn't dare let you do all the work. After all, it is too bad for your springs." Thomas and Toby laughed. "Huh," said Daisy, and she rolled off in a huff. "Well," chuckled Thomas, "have you ever seen anything like it?" The two commenced shunting the trucks. Toby planned out their approach to the very last detail, and Thomas followed. Soon all of the yard was running in perfect order. "You managed things just fine, Toby. I'm glad you were here while I was away. It takes coordination to know where to put trucks in a big yard like this." "You're teaching this #1 engine new tricks," chuckled Thomas. Just then, Daisy bustled up with a line of trucks for the quarry. She thought the little engines were being lazy, and she was cross. "You little engines are so unreliable," she said. "While you two are sitting around, I'm doing some actual work. 2 jobs, in fact. I'm pulling my passengers, and I'm taking these cars to the quarry." "We're not lazy," said Thomas. "In fact, we're shunting cars in the yard." "I'm sure I can have all these cars ready in time for my evening train later today." Thomas and Toby were offended, but decided not to reply right away. Toby then had an idea to teach Daisy a lesson. He whispered it to Thomas. "Very well," said Toby. "We'll do your jobs for you while you can shun the yards." "I'll take your passengers," said Thomas, "and I'll take your trucks to the quarry." "Deal," Daisy said defiantly. So it was all arranged. Thomas set off with Daisy's passengers, and Toby set off for the quarry. And Daisy was left to handle the yards. Daisy thought she was being clever, but she didn't know that she had been duped. Daisy had been on the branch line for very long, and she didn't know the yard at all. Toby, of course, knew this. And it was not long before Daisy realized that she was in over her head. And the noisy, silly trucks did not make her job any easier. Needless to say, she was being kind of an idiot. Then Daisy realized that she was nearly late for her evening passenger train, and she scampered away to the platform, thinking she could sneak back afterwards to finish shunting. While she was away, Thomas and Toby returned, and they were shocked to see that the yard was in such a big mess. The yard manager was very annoyed. Unbelievable. Not only did that diesel railcar mess everything up, she left before she could fix anything. "Thomas, Toby, can you please sort out these cars and get everything back in working order?" "I figured this might happen," said Toby. "Let's show her what we little engines can do," said Thomas, and they went to work shutting the trucks back into proper order. Later that day, Daisy was turning back up the line after delivering her passengers. She was completely exhausted, and she was surprised to see how fine the yard looked. She couldn't believe her eyes. "What kept you?" asked Toby. Daisy jumped. She tried to speak, but she was out of breath. Her face was as red as James's paint. The little engines chuckled and went on their way. That night, she owned up to the little engines. "I'm sorry I was rude," she said. "It was hard work managing that yard. You two did great at it." "I guess being a little engine does have its perks," said Thomas. "Don't worry," said Toby. "After turning around here for a few weeks, you'll know just about much of the yard as we do." Daisy smiled. A few days later, Percy returned from the works, and all on the branch line returned to normal. All four engines now work well together, and after a few days of shunting, Daisy's learned the ropes of the yard. Daisy now does her best on the branch line to try to be a real useful engine, but she still likes to keep her feminine ways.